Yesterday, I reported to you all that intelligence officials were claiming that a major attack was coming within the next 48 hours, claiming that Iran was about to attack Israel. Now, I know that these warnings often fall on deaf ears because we've heard a lot of these kind of threats lately. And it seems like sometimes this stuff just doesn't happen. Well, I can now confirm that just moments ago at the time of this recording, Iran has carried out its first wave of attacks against Israel. Iran has reportedly launched about 100 kamikaze drones towards targets in Israel. Now, it's going to take a moment for these drones to reach Israel. And I know that some of you are already thinking, why is this a big deal? They're always fighting over there. Well, let me put things into perspective for you all. If my memory and history serves me correctly, if I'm not mistaken, I believe this is the first time in history that Iran has carried out a direct attack against Israel from its own territory. You see, Iran has been wreaking havoc in the Middle East for years through its proxies and terror cells. What they do is they throw rocks and then they hide their hands. They'll have a proxy army or militia or a terrorist group carry out attacks in other places in the Middle East, and then they'll say, hey, we don't have anything to do with it. That wasn't our official military. That's the type of stuff they've been getting away with for years. But now this is a direct attack from Iran. You see, when these proxies carry out attacks, the U.S. military, Israel, whoever's involved, they respond to the proxies, right? So there may be an attack and then we go, find some random terrorist in Baghdad, right? And we get them, right? In this situation, if we respond to this direct attack from Iran, we're not responding to little militant groups in Iraq and Afghanistan or in Syria. We're responding to Iran itself, a direct confrontation with Iran's military itself, not these little proxy groups. This is a whole different story. This is a whole different battle. This is a real war that it looks like we're about to dive into. Not this little nonsense of little terrorists with goats, riding around with their AKs. No, a real military, okay? So this is the first time that this has happened in history where Iran directly attacks Israel. Now, Israel's already promised that they're going to attack back. And like I just explained to you all, they're not going to be attacking their militias or their little terror groups in the mountains of Afghanistan or wherever the hell else they're hiding out in the Middle East. No, they're going to directly respond to Iran itself. And from what the U.S. has been saying, we're going to respond as well. Now, all of this is not happening for no reason. Like I said, Iran's been wreaking havoc in the Middle East for years through its proxy groups. But also, Israel just bombed I believe it was the Iranian embassy in Damascus, killing a bunch of high-ranking Iranian military officials. So they kind of put Iran in a position where they had to respond. It's kind of like, how can I put it? It's almost like peer pressure. Maybe some of you have had a conflict in school when you were a kid. Maybe you didn't want to fight, but your friends and your classmates hyped you up for a fight. That's kind of what is going on here. You see, what Israel did when they bombed or attacked this embassy in Damascus with all of these Iranian military leaders there, what they did is they embarrassed Iran on, the world stage. So the world is watching. And when you do something like that, I'm not here to defend Iran. I'm not here to take sides. I'm just reporting what's going on. But when you do something like that, it doesn't matter if it's against Iran, against America, against an insert country name here. It's like the country has no choice but to respond, or else they look weak. So we knew that this attack was going to happen. we didn't know exactly when, although we had a good time frame. And as of right now, as I said, the first wave is already on the way to Israel. They have launched up to about 100 kamikaze one-way drones, and there's also a major cyber attack against Israel underway as we speak as well, as Iranian hackers are trying to take down Israel's missile defense system. Now, Israel has one of the best defense systems in the world, which is probably the only reason why Israel still exists and is on the map today with their Iron Dome. So I don't know how many of these drones will be shot down. I don't know how many of them will reach their targets. The US and Israel also has like radar jamming devices throughout the Middle East. So some of these drones will be dropping out of the sky before they make it to Israel or even make it to Israel's defense system. There's a lot going on here. And from what I've heard, rumblings in Washington, D.C. right now is that Biden and the Biden administration, they've tried to get on the phone with the leaders of Iran, and Iran wants no part of it. They don't want any conversations anymore. And this is just the first wave of attacks. Who knows what the second wave will be, what the third wave will be. Will there be more waves? When and where will Israel respond? There's a lot of moving parts to what's happening right now, and there's no telling what will come in the coming hours, days, weeks ahead. By this time next week, I think it's very likely that at the very least, Israel will be in a full-scale war with Iran, a full-scale war that America will be funding. And I wouldn't put it past America, as I reported to you all today. They're already moving more soldiers to the Middle East because of this. So I wouldn't be surprised within the coming weeks or months if we're not at war with Iran directly. That is a huge possibility. That is all the way on the table right now. Okay, it's not off the table, it's on the table with biscuits, gravies, and extra sides, okay? This could happen any moment. We're sending our young women, our young men overseas to, I guess, defend Israel. It's so tiring, honestly. It's tiring. And that's coming from someone that's just sitting over here watching this stuff play out. We're not even in the midst of all of this. So imagine how these people feel. And at the end of the day, innocent people on both sides are going to be the ones paying the price. But before I go any further, I want to go ahead and roll this news clip, and then I'll be right back with more thoughts.
Israel, obviously, it's our greatest ally. We have to help them face this threat. And I hope that the Biden administration is looking at ways that we can intercept as many of these drones that are coming Israel's way, because the fewer of them that get through, then the response from Israel can be proportional, and hopefully this doesn't get out of hand. But look, none of this is by coincidence. Weakness invites aggression, and this is what we're seeing.
Have we heard anything from the president? Can you tell us more about the decision that he made to cut his trip to Delaware short, to make it back to the White House there to meet with his national security teams?
Well, we know that this is obviously a situation they've been taking extremely seriously. They've been monitoring things changing hour by hour here. So we received word this afternoon that he would, in fact, be cutting short his weekend trip to Delaware to return and be here in person to consult with his national security team, the Defense Secretary, National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan, and monitor this as it unfolds. Because, again, what's really key here is how Israel potentially responds and how this could potentially involve the United States. Again, we don't have a new statement from the White House or President Biden as of yet. But Friday, he made clear that the U.S. is committed to Israel's self-defense, and that it is devoted to that. He was warning Iran, don't move forward with an attack. But here we are today. around 24 hours later, and we're just going to have to see what unfolds.
Yeah, Fox News can confirm, according to multiple sources, that drones have been launched from Iran toward Israel. It will take these drones hours to get here, and this could be just the initial phase of the Iranian attack against Israel. Israeli officials are meeting tonight to determine what their response will be to this drone attack. There are a variety of methods the Israelis could use to shoot down these drones, including fighter jets and some of their more air defense systems that are on the perimeter of Israeli territory. We're talking about some of the larger systems, not the Iron Dome that we've discussed over the past nearly 200 days amid the war between Israel and Gaza, but larger systems such as David's Sling and the Arrow system. Remember, this all began earlier this month when the Israelis targeted the Iranian consulate in Damascus, Syria, killing Mohammad Zaghadi, a top Iranian general in charge of the weapon shipments to places like Syria and Lebanon. It is what the Iranians have called a red line that was crossed.
So as I'm sitting down recording this video, talking to you all about these kamikaze drones that Iran just launched at Israel, it is now being reported that Iran has launched, we don't know the exact number yet. I'm seeing conflicting reports of 75 to 150, but apparently Iran has launched ballistic missiles at Israel as well. And they're claiming that at dawn, not our time, but their time, at dawn, they're going to be launching even more missiles. So this attack is shaping out to be even bigger than what I expected, bigger than what they expected. And this is supposedly just the first wave. We don't know how Israel's going to respond yet, but they have promised a response. This is I don't know how long you guys have been watching this channel. If you've been here for a while, then you know that we've talked about the possibilities of a conflict, blowing up in the Middle East between Iran, Israel, and all of these other countries. And it's been brewing for a while now. And, I've moved on and talked about other news stories, but this is what I was warning you about months ago. The possibilities of this happening. The war between Israel and Hamas and the Palestinians in Gaza, that's child's play. I think it's horrible what Hamas did to Israel on October the 7th. I think it's horrible what's happened to the innocent people in Gaza since then. I don't support war. I wish we lived in a world where this stuff didn't happen, but it does. I'm not here to choose sides in this conflict. If I'm going to choose a side, I choose America's side. But what I want people to understand is when I say I choose America's side, I don't mean the side of the government and what they're deciding to do by tinkering in all of these conflicts. I mean the side of the people. And what people need to understand is that from everything I've seen, people from both political parties here in America, Democrats and Republicans, no one really seems to want any part of these conflicts over in the Middle East. America has been involved in conflicts in the Middle East since I was born. Some of my first memories are memories of, thinking about freaking Operation Desert Storm and all of this other stuff. And I think we're tired of it. I think over here in America, we're tired of tampering and tinkering and getting involved in all of these other countries' problems. So when I say I'm on America's side in this conflict, I mean I'm on the side of everyday Americans. I'm not on the side of the politicians that want war and want to drag us into endless wars and conflicts. So watching this situation play out, this is the worst case scenario. As I said, what's going on between Israel and Hamas, it's terrible, but that's child's play. Complete child's play compared to what this conflict can turn into. Iran has a large military. They have way more capabilities than Hamas. I'm not here to tell you that they're the most powerful military in the world. I'm not here to tell you that they're the most advanced military in the world. But they're damn sure more prepared, more powerful, and larger than any army that we've come in contact with in the Middle East. When we're fighting these goat herders and these sheep herders in Afghanistan, that's nothing compared to what Iran has to offer. So this can get ugly really fast, and apparently we've reached the point of no return. Once Iran launches a direct attack, and like I said, I know these different countries have been at odds and battling and fighting all over the place for years, but this is something totally different. And I don't expect everyone to be able to wrap their minds around that. But once you do wrap your mind around it, or how about this? A lot of people don't understand how serious this is yet, but those people will understand in the coming months, because things are about to get way worse than what they have been. But for now, let me know your thoughts about this down in the comments below. While you're down there, hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe. If you want to donate, you can donate via Cash App or Super Thanks. And with that being said, I'll talk to you all soon in the next one.